we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
It's podcast time.
My favorite time.
It is. So, we have Steph here with us.
Hey.
And we met you through Miranda. Quick backstory. Yes. Miranda, our listeners are not familiar with.
They will be next week.
She'll be on next week.
We're going a little out of order there, but yes. But yeah, thanks to Miranda. We got in touch with you via social media, which is a tool that I will praise this week. I usually bash it, but a great tool for networking and getting a guest opportunity. So just kind of thumbing through your stuff. Looks like you do some amazing things. So we thought you'd be a great fit for the program. And here you are.
I'm here. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, shout out to Miranda for having me and just like introducing me. I love the work that y'all do. And I think let's get into it. Let's have this conversation.
Yeah. So did you hit the gym today?
I hit the gym today.
Yeah.
You got that pump, huh?
You know, I did, it was lower body day. It wasn't easy. I did deadlifts.
Ooh.
I think I hit a new PR, which was really exciting. I did a 130-pound deadlift.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. The Romanian deadlifts.
So
So I did it on the Smith's machine, so it was like a little bit more assisted to give me a little bit more leeway to like
a little more stable.
A little more stable, yeah. So I'm not, messing up my joints and stuff. But no, it was cool. I love the gym. Gym's been my life lately. I've been doing the 75 hard thing, but I've been calling it a 75 medium.
Okay.
And I'm doing it mainly as like a personal like science experiment because on top of like, the full-time work that I already do, I have a business called Embodiment. And what we do is we talk about body neutrality, we talk about body empowerment, just really rewriting your body narrative and however way that shows up, whether that's in fitness, at your job, in your family, in your friend circle, however that is, because our bodies, that's the first thing that presents itself in any kind of space. So I've always felt very inclined and very attuned to speaking about that because of my own experience, right? Being in a bigger body and having to have that narrative with me throughout my life and just rewriting that narrative constantly and feeling empowered to embrace the body that I'm in right now. And also in the same breath, try and like dismantle and break those beauty standards that we have out in society. So
now, how long has this been in existence?
So I opened up Embodiment. So I made like a little pre-announcement of January of 2024.
Okay.
So it's been about a year. But I didn't really have my first event, like in-person event until I want to say like October. Before that, September.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a while to figure out, when you're first like trying to open something and if it's something that's like, I'm very intentional. I think very critically and deeply about things because I want it to be sustainable. And something that I've always thought about is in my full-time work, so I work in philanthropy, and we're always thinking about community, how to work with community and not necessarily empower community because I think there's already a lot of power in people in community. It's mainly connecting you to the tools and the resources so that you can create and cultivate your own power and keep your power going in whatever ways that shows up for you in your life. So that's why it just took me a while to get embodiment out there. But and I had to like constantly check in with myself because I think hustle culture made me want to like always constantly putting something out. Sure. But I'm happy that I took my time with it because it's been something that's just been sustainably coming to life.
Yep.
And I get like little pockets of creativity here and there and ideas on how to continuously amplify the business and the space. So I call it a community space. But yeah, that's what I do. And what really inspired that, again, going back to the whole body narrative story, just my own experience with my own body and also being a model. So I'm a plus size model at Wilhelmina. So I've been doing that for a couple of years now, since 2022, I believe. Um, and I've always just wanted to go deeper with things. I
Mm,
feel like I'm like not a surface level person at all. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool goal. How can we go deeper?
Yeah.
And this is a cool concept. How can we go deeper? How can I create something from this and incorporate my creativity and my passion and again my own story? Because I'm a strong believer that if you're not creating something that's going to directly benefit yourself and something that's not going to either switch your mindset or help you become a better person, um, then why like in a way create something that you're going to be offering to community members or some other people to
mhm.
partake in? Like I want to be like in a way, for a better lack of word, like that testimony of like, yes, this is the type of work that I do and it's worked for me. Come with me along on this journey. So
So that's the mission. You got the drive. Is there like a mission statement with this program that you're building?
yeah, there's multiple mission statements, but the one that I'm always continuously coming back to is rewriting the narrative
Hmm.
and dismantling the norms.
Okay.
I like that.
It's yeah, because it's like there's and that can be multiple things, right? Like but in this case it's a body narrative, the current body narrative that um anybody really has is can be rewritten and you can dismantle the norms that society has placed upon you to believe about your certain body. Me, I'm a woman, specifically a Latina woman, and I think that there's also cultural norms that come into just my body narrative and the way that I viewed my body growing up. So there was this one moment where I just kind of told myself like I wanted to do all of these things and I felt that I always had to change my body or change the way that I look in order to go for those things, right? And I realized that
Mm,
that was holding me back. And I'm like, I no, like that's bullshit, right? I don't want to do that anymore. Don't want my body to be something that's restricting me from doing the things that I want.
Hmm.
So I just went for it all.
Well, and it sounds like that was a, what you've come to realize
Yeah.
was a self restriction.
Mm,
Like, right? Because like you were listening to the societal norms and like what society claims to be normal,
that part.
and
Yeah.
it's like having this acceptance of yourself to be able to actually enjoy reality. Like in a
Yeah.
sense, is that kind of like what
Yeah,
you're talking
no,
about?
that's on track. Because I think we're our own worst, like the worst critics of ourselves, right? And I think there's obviously like different factors that go into it. Like there is like media, right? Like media consumption tells us like do this workout in order to look this way, or like eat this meal in order to lose weight, and so on
Hmm.
and so forth. But I think we are in a lot more control than we think we are when it
Hmm.
comes to our bodies and our mindset. We just need to be connected to the tools and resources to help us get there. So yeah, that's a
It's a
good
mental game
pathway.
too, I
It
think. A
is.
huge part of it, and you mentioned like how the way we treat our bodies. Like I'm not a big pharma guy. I don't really subscribe to pharmaceutical stuff. So I'll take natural products like apple cider vinegar, garlic, beetroot to combat some of the things that big pharma would normally do.
Mhm.
So that's kind of part of my world. I like to kind of, and like taking immunity shots and stuff like that to keep my immune system healthy
Yeah.
throughout this time of year. And just taking that kind of approach to it, like I guess biohacking is one way to describe it.
Hmm.
I've heard it worded as that, but yeah, it's the mental battle, right? That's the
Mhm.
huge piece, and getting over, our own worst critic. I mean, we've been doing this a long time, so I hear a lot of feedback about being a podcaster, and you just got to let that roll. But controlling what we can control is what it really
Yeah.
comes back to, right?
Yeah. I
Being
agree.
rooted in reality.
Yeah.
I am on I love your mission statement, breaking the societal
Yes.
norms, and one area that I've been focusing on recently is all these stereotypes behind marriage and relationships and how
Yeah.
relationships should go. So I'm recently married.
Okay.
I'm so happy, and I believe that actually I don't believe I'm going to say this to the camera, forever honeymoon. That's what I'm gonna do is a forever honeymoon. And like, why do marriages have to fizzle out? Like, why do relationships need to lose value? Like, why do people feel like, oh, married life or like all this stuff? And sure, I'm a newlywed, so people will be like, yeah, but you haven't been married for X amount of time. But it's also like how you think about a relationship or how you think about your body or your diet or your health, that plays into how it actually unfolds. So I do completely subscribe to like this mentality. your mentality is your life, like perception is reality. And even though like my perception might not actually be 100% reality, like it could be for me, right? So it's like that's still like a realm of reality. And I just think I just love that. And because it's like, who made these societal norms anyway?
Yeah, how did we get here? I mean,
Yeah,
social media is a big piece.
yeah, who said that this
Princess
is how it
programming.
should go?
Yeah.
I blame Disney, princess programming, a lot of that. You know, the 90s when, you know, E and a lot of these, you know, swimsuit illustrate, a lot of these things started coming out. I think that put a lot of pressure on women. I think it's just been a societal evolution of it, really. I
I
mean,
agree.
your opinion on it, what do you think?
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think society has a lot to do with it. And I mean, I'm sure that there is like some sort of resource or knowledge or education out there on like what even started all of this. Like, there's terms that I've explored, like, when it comes to like fat phobia and dismantling like those mindsets and concepts. But I remember you just reminded me when I was growing up, I think that, and probably even like my sisters, they experienced this a lot more. There was this term called heroin chic, and it was like
I
in the
haven't heard that.
early thousands, I want to say. And it was when just like celebrities, like actresses and singers and performers, they were just very, very thin. And that was the standard, right? Like you are considered beautiful, you are considered like hot and sexy if you're like this type of body type. And I think that they labeled it heroin chic because they started realizing that maybe some of these folks were like doing like substance abuse in order to obtain that weight and maintain
Or
it,
like
right?
anorexia or like
That part.
bulimia,
Yep, the
like
body eating
really
the
unhealthy
eating
things.
disorders,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think about that, and I even think about where we're at now, like fast forward to 2025, there's been a lot of change when it comes to the quote unquote body positivity world. And I actually like popular to contrary, is that the saying? Popular to contrary belief, or sorry, English is my second language, so there's some things that like
Oh,
sometimes don't.
you're doing great.
Okay.
That might still
But
be too. You're good
okay,
like that.
good. But so I think the body positivity, body inclusivity, body empowerment space has definitely evolved since then.
Mhm.
And it's been very much like, you have more women and I say women only because I'm not exclusive to just women, but I think that I naturally attract just like a community of women. So I'm just going to say women for now, but just know that my work is like inclusive, like any gender can come through and partake of, embodiment. But right now it's women. So
I
I
like
think
that.
women have naturally just started to showcase their bodies a little bit more. Like, now we see a little bit more rolls and a little bit more cellulite and a little bit more curves. And
And that's beautiful.
I think it's beautiful,
Yeah.
right? But there's also like a little voice in the back of like society's head still, right? Where it's just kind of like, where am I going with this? Where, yeah, that's great and all, but I still want to be this certain kind of aesthetic. So going back to the body positivity part of it, I don't promote body positivity in the ways that a lot of other, like, again, body positive, body inclusive creators, influencers, and organizers do. I don't think it's realistic to be to body positive every single day.
Mhm.
There's going to be days where you don't like your body, and that's okay. And so instead of body positivity, because I think body positivity is another kind of topic and narrative that
Mhm.
they're just pushing on women, like, you have to love your body. Like, you just had a baby, you have to love your body. Or you gained weight, you have to love your body. And I think that it can get very tiresome and it can get incredibly unrealistic because, again, there's going to be people out there where it's just like, actually, I don't love my body right now. And I always tell folks, you don't have to love your body right now, but you have to respect it,
Mhm.
That's
right?
fair.
And I think that's where body neutrality comes in a lot for me. That's the one thing that I'm always constantly saying. Whenever I talk about my work with embodiment, I'm always going to bring up body neutrality because it means instead of sitting here and criticizing my body and telling myself that I don't love my body right now, I'm going to appreciate and respect it for what it does for me in the moment, right? Like, I respect my body because it was able to get me to this podcast today.
Mhm.
I respect my body because I woke up in the morning. I respect,
120 PR record today.
yeah, thank
Personal
you.
record. Yeah.
Right. I respect my body. And that's
Yep.
why like gym culture trying to switch that narrative too, because I'm just like, I deserve to take up space in the gym also because I respect my body because I'm strong as fuck. Like,
Right.
I deserve to also look cut. I deserve to also gain muscle and like, showcase my strength. And yeah, I mean, body neutrality has been something that's been much more realistic for me because a couple years back, I mean, I even think about like why I even started modeling. I'm like, well, I want to see more bodies that look like me. I want to see body representation. I want women to know that they can wear this pair of jeans because I'm wearing them and they find some sort of like similarity in their body like with mine, right? But I had to constantly tell myself that there's going to be days even in the modeling space where I sometimes didn't show up particularly loving my body. But again, going back to okay, maybe I don't feel like the greatest right now, but I'm doing this for a mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it as a statement and I'm going to be neutral about it. You know what? It's cool. We're just going to do this today and we're going to celebrate after. And then I think having that mindset shift really helped me in just continuing to go, right? Because I think I never want to be a bullshitter and kind of be like, yeah, I love everything.
Yeah.
Um,
People can tell if you're fake.
yeah. And I'm
They
like,
can tell.
I don't want that. I want realness. I want depth. I want
Authenticity.
authenticity. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We got to bring back authenticity. And I think that's a good way to, a good way to start and a good approach to it, in the world we live in now. We hit a lot of those points already, I think the mental game is huge for sure. Like, and you're already doing that. Just showing up is half the battle. Maybe I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. You got to do it anyway. I
Yeah.
think attendance is key
Mhm.
because if you can at least get moving, I think you got a better shot at getting some results, getting to where you need to be, showing up for work, going to the gym, whatever it is. It's so easy to talk ourselves out of it. And then that's the spiral, right? I'm too lazy. My body's no good. And then it's those negative affirmations.
Yeah.
And then it's just a black hole from there. So I think, we talk a lot about positive affirmations on here
Mhm.
Yeah.
and being kind to yourself and constantly reaffirming to yourself, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I got this, I'm beautiful, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those kind of messages, those simple changes in day-to-day behavior, monumental results.
It does something cognitive, right? You like naturally just start thinking that way about yourself. Something that so with embodiment, I do this body neutrality work in a couple of ways. Um, the most recent way and the one that's kind of had a little bit more traction, which I'm really happy about, is movement classes. So far, I've collaborated with local fitness studios. A couple of them have been Haven Hot Pilates, Soul Cycle, which is a really big one, and Star Cycle. So my goal is always to go into a space where typically everybody is thin,
Mhm.
right? Um, Typically everyone has a little bit more money to spend on the class too. It can be very culty.
Mhm.
Like, these like stereotypes that we hear about like cycling classes and Pilates, like how it can become a little elitist at times too. And there's like a specific type of aesthetic that you need to bring into the space.
Hmm.
I'm like, no, I want everybody up in there. I want big bodies. I want like people to jiggle on the bikes. I want you to let it all out and just be yourself and just move your body. And through these movement-based classes, I'm like, you can show up however you want to show up as long as you are moving your body because there's so many other benefits to moving your body besides the aesthetics,
Mhm.
right? Like I actually talked about that today on my Instagram story. Like I saw a video of a woman saying the more that you move your body, the less likely you are to develop dementia.
Mhm.
And I think that we forget the long-term benefits of like when it comes to the health and wellness world, the long-term benefits of just moving your body and showing up as you are. And like there is athleticism in all of us, right? Like if you have a body, you're an athlete, just simply put. You'd be surprised of how much you can do with your body. And I think having women attend these movement-based classes, I really like hearing like the aftermath of it, like right, like oh my gosh, like I forgot how much I love moving my body, I'm gonna go to the gym this week, or I forgot how much I love cycling, like you really got me back into it, or I've always been scared to try something new, thank you for creating a space for me to come and try this out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've been really, really lucky. These instructors that I've been able to collaborate with in these fitness studio spaces, they're just wonderful people and they get it. They're like, at the end of the day, like I think when you have that fitness instructor mindset or even a personal trainer mindset, you view a body as like this like in a way like this vessel, right? Where sorry,
You're
this vessel where you're just kind of like, I just see you in your body. Like I'm not judging you because you're overweight or because you're not strong or because you're not cut. You're just a body and you're here and you're just trying to improve yourself or you're trying to do something new. And yeah, I think that should be celebrated. And that's what I do with the movement-based classes.
Okay.
So,
Well, and I think also like as if personal instructors or whatever, or
yeah.
that whole thing, they probably see so many people start and then quit.
Yeah.
And then so like what you're saying, attendance, like you actually show up, like that's a huge thing. Just
Yeah.
just
Commitment.
to change your like habits and your routine enough to make life interesting, and so go try like the Pilates, go try the cycle class. And I like the neutrality thing a lot too.
Mhm.
There's actually a lot of positive energy behind the word being like the mentality of actual neutrality,
Hmm.
that is letting go of predispositions and allowing it to exist, like whatever it is, and being neutral enough
Yeah.
to allow life to happen. And, you get people who are critical of their appearance on all sides of the spectrum. You might have somebody that's in the gym 7 days a week, super cut, and like they look like they're super attractive, but then they're probably in their own head, like
Yeah.
talking negatively, and might have like body dysmorphia. So like to have that neutrality is an important piece regardless of like where you're at on your health journey. I think it's really important to have that neutrality, and like to give yourself a safe place to accept where you're at, and that way you can actually like start making the changes and treating yourself good along the road. um, I did see your Instagram story on the dementia thing. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
I
It
recently
does.
just finished an audiobook. I don't know if audiobooks count toward this 75 hard, like if you have to read it or if you can
Between
listen.
you and I, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just finished one on super communication, like how to be a super
Oh,
communicator.
wow.
And so whenever I find some good information, I want to share it. I already shared this with Kevin, but it was saying that if people who are less social and don't have a social network and don't have any meaning there, if they're non-social, don't have meaningful communication in their 50s, then more likely they would get dementia and like all these other
Mm.
ailments in their 80s. And so like having like that kind of community is important because it also gives people a chance when they might be isolated, and especially with their thoughts, and like a free space to talk about their insecurities freely. Like it's creating a community and a safe place for people to actually be social as well, which also having a meaningful social network has all these health benefits
Hmm.
associated with it too. So you're like attacking a couple different areas there.
Yep. Thank you for calling that out because that's what it feels like, right? Because everything starts with our body. Again, going back to the body and empowering the body and liberating the body. It's like we get to experience that. We get to experience our interactions and we get to experience just how we move through life. So I think it's really important to constantly check in with our bodies and honor what it can do, not necessarily what it looks like. And again, kind of like I know earlier we mentioned like you are like the whole concept of you are your own worst critic.
Hmm.
It finally hit me. I'm like, I don't really think anyone's checking for me. Like, oh, Stephanie is a bad person because, she's a big girl. Like, I kind of had to let go of those mindsets a lot too, because I'm like, I don't think people are noticing that. And that's just my experience, also validating that maybe that experience is different for somebody else. But yeah, just like highlighting that.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. So going back to the business side of it, like how
Mhm.
the route to market and what that looks like, you touched on kind of the movement stuff. Now, do you offer like coaching? Is it, like customer acquisition, and how does all
Yeah.
that come into
Yeah.
play?
So I do offer one-on-one sessions. I do coaching sessions. We'll call them coaching sessions, but they're really not. I think they're mainly just like check-ins. Like
Yeah.
if you need to talk to somebody about like your body and your body image and how you want to and I use this word lightly, like confidence, because I don't teach anybody to be confident. I think inherently we all have confidence in us. Again, I just want to connect you to the tools and the resources and empower you to step into your confidence, right? So I do offer that. Another aspect of embodiment is journaling. So we do a lot of literally like rewriting the body narrative.
Okay.
So I had a journaling event. A couple months ago, back in October, I believe. And what we did is I showed up with a couple of prompts that I think will literally prompt you to think about your body and where you're at in your journey and hold space for it. And I think it was such a beautiful, moving space. I love the touchy-feely things just as much. I think that all of us in that space released something that day, and the prompts vary from like, what was the moment that you were becoming like hyper aware of your body? Or what's one beauty construct that you want to dismantle? What's a cultural, like social construct that you feel like has embedded into you and like, your body? Like, how do you want to rewrite that?
Mm.
So they're really, really intentional questions. So there's that. And then there's a lot more exciting things that are coming up that I'm not going to disclose quite yet, but
Maybe something
whoever's
this weekend.
yeah, maybe,
Maybe something going on this weekend.
something like that.
Okay.
little behind the scenes sneak peek.
Yeah, we'll do something. But yeah, hopefully those that listen they'll tune in and because I'm actually really excited about this. It's more of a intimate kind of experience, like a more one-on-one with me, and we'll just say that it has to do with a gym.
Okay.
So,
There's enough
yeah.
info there.
Yeah,
Look,
there's
look,
enough info there.
people love a little mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to draw the
Yeah.
dots and paint the picture.
Yeah.
But one thing I like that you touched on is you say you don't teach confidence, but you kind of encourage people to what we call own it. Right. So
Yeah.
one of our missions is to own it. Own who you are, own your body, own your mission, own whatever it is. Because once you can do that,
Own your mistakes.
own your mistakes.
That
You got to own all
part.
of it. You
Mhm.
got to own the
Mhm.
bad and the good, not just the good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that too. I think so when it comes to the confidence thing, and this is just something that I've noted throughout my life, like a lot of people have told me like, "Oh my gosh, Stephanie, like you're so confident. Like, how do you do it?" And that's a great question because I'm like, wow, like how do I do it? Like, I don't think I'm showing up confidently. Like, I'm just being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being myself, right? And going back to the whole like, I think confidence is within all of ourselves, but the moment that we own ourselves and the moment that we show up authentically and we are empowered within our own story and journey, that's confidence right there.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically in the modeling world, because I don't really mind when people are like, oh my gosh, like a term that I hear a lot that I try to rewrite with folks is, I wish I was as confident as you. And I'm like, okay, like, thank you, first of all. But also like, you know that you have confidence within you. Like, what are the things that make you feel good about yourself? Like, think about the last moment that you did something and you're like, damn, like, that was really dope of me to do. That's confidence,
Mhm.
and you have to take note of those moments and you have to, in a way, like, write those moments down, like those really feel good moments about yourself. And that in itself is confidence. And that's why, again, going back to I don't think I can teach anyone to be confident because my perception of confidence and the things that make me feel good, those are personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So confidence just looks different on everybody.
Mhm.
I agree with that. Everyone's kind of dealt a different hand. They're in a different
Yeah.
walk of life. But I mean, under the same umbrella, it's basically the same thing. I mean, we all have it within us. Everybody has the ability to own it at any moment.
Yep.
Right. And make a change. I think
Mhm.
the biggest obstacles for a lot of people is getting off complacent boulevard. Right. That's a comfortable place to be.
That part.
Right. I mean, we're all guilty of complacent boulevard. I go on there sometimes. It's comfy. You get the
Same.
Netflix going.
It's
You're like,
nice.
I don't want to do
Mhm.
shit. I'm on complacent boulevard.
Yeah.
So get them out of that. And then obviously staying consistent. I
Mm.
think that's the biggest thing because people get inspired real quick. That quick hit. 2-3 weeks go by. They're like,
Start
kind of
falling off.
losing it, and then they're right back to complacent boulevard.
Yeah.
Right.
That part. Yeah, I I like that term, complacent boulevard, because same, I've become complacent in certain things too.
Freshly paved.
Yeah.
Beautiful
There's
shrubs
like
on the side.
beautiful shrubbery,
You
like
know,
all the stores you could ever want on Complacent Boulevard, but
nice.
Full Send Highway,
It's got a lot of potholes on
yeah,
it.
potholes.
Mhm.
So it's the analogies are fun.
They're fun.
And I think that just makes me think about like my own journey through like owning my body, right? Like there was some spots where it was like a really high and then a really low. And I think coming into this space, being this owner of this like embodiment community space, I'm like, you're gonna get the real stuff here. Like there's gonna be days where I don't want to talk about my body or your body because I'm just not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not here. Like I hit a pothole, right? Like I need to go and like reconvene with myself and remind myself who I am, what's my worth, what's my value, or in a way like remind myself what my values are, right? What's my mission, what's my goal here? Because I think hustle culture, we can get easily lost in it too. I definitely have kind of gone a little hard at little times and have impulsively put things out there, but again, like I mentioned previously, I think taking your time with things is really nice, and I think that's the most sustainable way to rewrite your story and journey. And
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's let it take its course. Don't try to rush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it develop.
Yeah.
You got to plant the seed. You got to water it. You got to let it flourish, and then you
Mhm.
harvest it.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's okay to have an off day.
Totally.
And to change, like if you really are like, look, when I was doing drugs all the time and I was at like 260 pounds, I'm like 205 right now. So like I've made a lot of changes mentally because of the substance that I let go of. And then from there, I had to like really dial in and focus my energy to like change other areas. But in order to do that, like you have to get uncomfortable with whatever you have been doing is making you unhappy, then you have to start changing those things and figuring out what actually does make you happy. And then, like what you're saying, you have to commit to that and
Mhm.
actually keep showing up because it's easy to get motivated for a couple weeks, like you're saying, but to actually stay committed and change who you are fundamentally as a human, that takes time and you can't talk about it. You have to just do it, sort of thing. So I wanted to just throw that tidbit in there really quick.
Yeah.
They're basically all saying the same thing.
And I love hearing aligned things, and sometimes I
Same.
like hear like a new way of thinking about something,
Yeah.
and it changes my mind on it. So I want to talk about success energy really quick because sometimes we have to find our motivation and we have to find like our worth. And sometimes it's hard to do that. But like what you were just saying, as far as like you've done something cool, like back in your mind, you have to find something that, like you were confident. When was the last time you were confident? Those types of questions.
Yeah.
So as humans, and we're all guilty of this, too often we're always thinking about the next thing.
Yeah.
So and this is like majority of people don't give themselves a pat on the back. And that's crazy because what's happening is you are leaving all this free success energy behind you. So if you can go back, if like you're in a low mental space and you can go back and start thinking about the last time you're confident, the last time you succeeded, and start thinking about that, then it starts to replay in your head. And then you all of a sudden tap into that old success energy that's just sitting there. And so it also redirects your mind into like more of a positive affirmation type of thought.
Yeah.
So success energy is there. We can all always tap into it. And making those long-term commitments, like you should probably, you're on the right track when you feel like quitting. Like with whatever goal you have, if you feel like quitting that at some point, you probably are doing the right thing.
I lived that. Like I was telling you before the show, I was
Yeah.
ready to quit it all. And that's
Yeah.
like pulls you right back in. You're recommitted, stronger than ever. So I agree with that point because I lived it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I second that. I agree with that a lot because there was some point where I'm just like, I'm not going to do any of this.
yeah. There you go.
Like straight up, like the modeling, I'm like, no, I'm not ready. Like I need to lose 20 pounds. I'm like, girl, if you even if you did lose the 20 pounds, it's your mindset. Like, do you think you're going to do it still, even if you were 20 pounds lighter, And same thing with embodiment. Like, I'm just like, I don't know who's going to show up. Like, are people going to think that this is like a little too much, a little too deep, a little, because when I talk about embodiment, like you got to do the work. Like I'm down to have the feel good moments and the positivity. Absolutely. Because like I thrive off of that, but also I'm trying to dismantle some shit and I'm trying to help you rewrite your body narrative. And that means that you have to tap in and it's a mindset thing. So yeah, I agree with that. Cause it was like, and the business aspects of it too, like the logistics, right? Like funding and
Right.
where am I going to hold events and how am I going to advertise this and how am I going to put this out here? But I think, going on like the whole like success space that you opened, it's again, it's mindset. And I think that when you're naturally aligned with things, I believe in manifestation. I believe in calling things in. I believe in working hard because if it's something that you want, guess what? It also wants you. So it's going to come to you as long as you're ready for it and that you're working for it.
I agree with that. If you
Yeah.
feel you deserve it, the universe will serve it.
I like that.
I think I stole
Yeah.
that from Pain and Gain. That was in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. It really is. It's a mental battle. I think that's the big piece and getting people on board. And so you mentioned some of the business part of it. Like is social media where a lot of customer acquisition comes from? Is it word of mouth?
So it's word of mouth. It's social media. I'm it really is word of mouth too, honestly, because I felt like I've built this network of just incredible women who want to, like, they're into self-improvement, health and wellness, because I do consider myself a health and wellness space as well. So it's word of mouth. It's like telling folks like, hey, I know that you mentioned this, and I think something that I'm still working on, a little vulnerable moment here. I need to be better about putting myself out there on social media a little bit more, and when it comes to authenticity.
Mm.
Because if you look at my socials, it's pretty posed, it's pretty like, calculated. And I love that. I worked really hard to make it look that way.
Sure.
But also I'm like, no, there's something missing here, because you look at my page and you're just like, okay, she models. This is cool. Like, she's doing like body empowerment work. That's amazing. But the reels and the content that I've been creating lately, I'm just like, I don't know if people actually know me, like my personality. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, like, I'm just having fun, because this is a journey, right? We have to have fun with it
Have to
too.
have fun.
Mm.
We have to have fun, because I'm like, I don't want things to be so like dire and like serious all the time. Like,
Right.
yes. And that's why I created multiple spaces of embodiment. Like, if you just want to have fun and a good time and hang out with the girls, come to a workout class. If you want to like get deep and personal and heal a little bit, come
Yeah.
to the journaling. Or if you're just like,
Because
I
those were
don't
good
know.
questions. Those journaling,
Thank
those
you.
questions, those were good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're questions that I've like used on my own in my own body
Mhm.
journey. And going back to like, if you want something that you're just like, you don't like hanging out in big groups, but you still want to have these conversations, just hang out with me. Like, let's go get coffee and talk about this. But yes, to answer your question, I think social media is the big one, but it's mainly been word of mouth. I'm incredibly lucky for all of the friends and networks that I've been able to make in Denver. Um, I Again, I attract a lot of women, and I think a lot of my friends are naturally attracted to wellness things and something that's beneficial to your health. So it's been great to meet people like, oh, I heard of you from like so and so, or I saw this post on your social media and I just felt like I wanted to come to this. So it's been great. Another business aspect is all of my events so far have been free, because I believe in accessibility.
Mhm.
I don't want costs to be something that, and that's a different way to do business, right? Because I think also trying to come into how am I going to monetize all of this eventually? But so far, because I've in a way like quote unquote piloting this community space, I just want to make sure that it's accessible and that people come and there's like no restrictions. Like, even like when it comes to um women with kids, right? Like, if you need childcare, one of the cycling studios, Star Cycle, they had childcare. So yeah, that's my approach right now. I It's funny that you didn't say that, because I'm not necessarily business oriented. I have worked in nonprofit all of my life. And before then, I only worked for the public education system. So I have held like state and government level jobs. Like, when it comes to running like a hardcore like business, like let's monetize and,
Mm.
survey results and stuff like that. Like, I can nerd out and get into that, but I'm still learning a lot.
Sure.
And it's great to just, again, tap into my network. And I do have those friends that are entrepreneurs, and I guess I'm an entrepreneur too. It's kind of weird to say that,
No,
but
totally.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
and it's coming
100%.
into that like mindset, and it's like, wow, like I didn't know that I was gonna get here, and it's a really cool moment, right? So, I'm still learning those business aspects, but it's it's one of those things where I'm just like, I think that's naturally gonna come.
Yeah.
I think
Probably.
I reversed it, right? Like, I went ahead and stuck to the intention and the mission and the values, like the core, like the heart space of my business came out to me first.
Hmm.
And the logistics and all of the other things have just come along the way. And I really like how that played out, because I've seen people do it the other way, right? They just want something like, oh, I need to figure out a way to make money. I'm like, no, I want to figure out a way to connect people.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to have a product that is
Yeah.
monetizable, if that's a word, able to be
Yeah.
monetized, right? And so going back to the slow and low approach of
Mm-hmm.
building it, letting it grow, not trying to rush it, not hitting the easy button. That's I want to get rich overnight approach. That's what everybody's living in
Yeah.
now, the TikTok world, stuff like that. So yeah, I think you just keep building on it, right? I mean, you said you're
Yeah.
just over a year in. You got some events coming up, a couple of tidbits that you've given us. So
Yeah.
yeah, ride the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how I look at ROI, return of investment,
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for
is
breaking that acronym down for
Yeah.
us.
Thank you. Because I was like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. What I just learned it recently,
Well,
so
Okay.
I'm in stock, so I
yeah,
talk about that a
I'm
lot.
Okay.
learn
Nice.
I'm learning a lot too.
I like that.
But what I'm thinking about here is, how do you define success? How do you define like, your return of investment? So for something like, we still have our day jobs. We make money podcasting, but we still work our day jobs.
Yeah.
And so what keeps me coming back is actually we're helping people by having open, upfront conversations. And it turns out that that means something to me. And for me, I get that return of investment every single time that we have a great person like you sit on the couch and we share a conversation. And if you enjoyed your time and you had fun here, and like you felt like you got to help the people by having a platform to speak, like specifically for this podcast, for me, I get my return of investment every single time I show up and have a conversation.
Same.
But if I was so focused on the money, then I wouldn't be able to see that I'm actually really enjoying my time. And, time is something that we never get back. So the more time I can enjoy, then the more happy of a life that I lived. So like, I try to look at things like that too, because yeah, money's important. We need to make money. There's bills to pay.
Yeah.
We got vacations to take,
That part.
So
Yeah.
like we have to do that, but at the same time, like how we are accomplishing that also matters, because you might have somebody that's just, I've had friends that are just chasing money and then they're like, I'm not happy at all. And then like some things happen in
Yeah.
life and then all of a sudden, like, then you don't have the money either. And then you don't have, and then so that's interesting. And then talking about the social media and being authentic on there, maybe you can remind me who I got this quote from. It was one of our guests. Um, but they said people don't relate with your message, they relate with your messes. So
Mm,
you share your messes with
wow.
people, and then all of a sudden, like they start to understand you. I forget who told us that,
Yeah, I can picture his face. We've
but
had him on Zoom.
yeah, that
Mm,
quote has always stuck with me. People don't relate with the message. No, they don't relate with the message. They
Relate
relate
to the
with your
message.
messes.
It's true.
yeah.
And that was
Damn.
like mind changing to me, because I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, I should start sharing, the overcoming opiates, and like how like
Yeah.
today wasn't a good day, or like I guess I
Mm-hmm.
could say it here, like the last week, like I've just been kind of like meh. Like I'm having good days, and like I'm eating good food and I have a meaningful relationship and good hobbies, but for some reason, like it's just like okay, and that's all right. Like it doesn't always have to be the very best, like what you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We go through our ups and downs, and that's normal.
Mm-hmm. That toxic positivity thing, right? Like the same thing with body positivity. It's like we don't have to love and, sunshine out our ass every single day. There's going to be those waves.
Hmm.
And yeah, I really like that. And I think that's like really inspiring me to share the message a little bit more. Another aspect of why embodiment even started, again, like I said, is because I've always like, not always, but most of my life I've had my own body image struggles.
Hmm.
And a lot of that came from what I consumed in the media, like what certain people in my close family were telling me. And I think that like man came into, having to navigate like eating disorders too. And I don't think people really know that because they see me as like, oh my gosh, you're super confident. It's like it took a long time to get here.
Hmm.
And I think about like younger me. I've been doing a lot of like inner child work lately. And I think about her a lot and just kind of like, what is it that she needed growing up? And that's what I want to create. That's why embodiment is here now too. Cause it's like, dang, if she had that, she would have been unstoppable. She is unstoppable, don't get me wrong, but it just took her a while to get here and that's okay. And I think that should be highlighted.
Hmm.
But that's super inspiring. Inspiring. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's good
Oh,
stuff for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I'm coming up on 38 now, and like I totally like fucked off for over a decade, like wrong priorities. I had some fun there, but it's interesting going through these different phases of life, and you start to appreciate things differently. And like when I removed opiates, stopped drinking to escape boredom, because after I stopped doing pills, like there was a while there where I like was drinking more.
And it was
Yeah.
during COVID times.
Yep.
So
And
everyone was
so like,
drinking.
Everyone was
yeah.
drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you realize that you're like drinking out of boredom, and like you almost have to be raw with yourself and like have those tough conversations. Like even thinking about your own inner child and like, what was she
Mhm.
missing to have to do this? And like,
Yeah.
are people actually having these kind of inner dialogues with themselves? And then finding like appreciation and because what I realized is everything that I could have ever wanted and all my happiness was there the whole time. It was always there, but like I was focused on something else. And that's crazy to me that it was there the whole time. And I feel like it's like that for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your personal happiness already exists.
Just got to peel back some layers. You know,
Mhm.
like you said with confidence, everyone has it. You know, and the inner child work I think is very important. I mean, I learned that in therapy, going through anger management, alcoholism, and all that. You had to peel the layers back. Where did this come from? Started from something, and then
Mhm.
you can address that and kind of okay, well, how we saw where we were, we know where we're at, where are we going, kind of thing, and draw on the roadmap from there. You got to have the tools and knowledge to do that, I think, and it's important to look to how we got to where we're at.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah.
it's getting deep, guys.
It's getting deep. I know. I'm like, dang, I gotta go journal after this.
You're gonna have to do some journaling.
Gotta go release some stuff. Yeah. No, it's good conversation though. Um it's just yeah, I mean, also we have to hold space to just like be really proud of ourselves right now. Like, can we just talk about that amongst the three of us? Because it's like I'm so proud of you, both of you, and how far you've come. And I just met you today.
Yeah.
I can only imagine like the journey and how long it's been, and how many times you're probably just like, man, like whatever, like I'm not gonna do this shit anymore. And I'm just like, yeah, I think it's great to finally like grow into ourselves continuously. Because if you're not growing, it's just like it's stagnant, right? Like the what you call it, the comfort zone or
Oh yeah, Complacent Boulevard.
Complacent Boulevard.
Yep, there's a street in every town named that.
Yeah. But I think it's important to highlight that too. I haven't taken a moment to kind of just like look back at embodiment and be like, oh my gosh, like actually did it, right? And it's going to
Mhm.
keep growing, and I think it's really exciting. So
That's exciting.
yeah,
That's exciting.
Yeah, and congratulations to you too.
Right.
thank
You
you.
know, and like with so with food and stuff, like
Yeah.
sure, I talk about drug addictions, we talk about alcoholism, but like literally sugar is one of the most addictive drugs,
Oh my
and it's
gosh,
in
yes.
everything.
It's in bread.
So
It's in everything.
this whole challenge thing that I've been doing, the 75 hard thing, right? I wanted to do it in my own way because I think 75 hard was created by some guy who had a lot of time on his hands and probably was connected to the resources to have a very successful 75 hard, right? I'm like, I can't do 2 workouts a day because I have a full-time job on top of this. It's pretty out there, like it's a pretty long commute for me. So I'm just like, okay, I had to like in a way like rewrite the rules for myself, like figuratively and literally, um from just doing like 1 hour workout a day. And there is some sort of like diet that you have to figure out and follow. And this is something that I was super mindful about because, as I previously mentioned, like the eating disorders, like it can get a little weird for me sometimes when it's like controlled eating or like restrictive eating. But I knew that I had to do something because I'm like, okay, the sugar thing,
Hmm.
eating all of this processed crap was really slowing me down. And I
Mm.
saw it in like my mental, like the brain fog, right?
Hmm.
Super low energy levels. And even like I was still working out before starting this challenge, but it was like I wasn't hitting like PRs. Like I felt like I was staying stagnant. So something that I've been learning throughout this challenge is that, right? Like the sugar thing. I was pissed off for like a good month into this because of the lack of sugar I was having.
Did it make you feel ill, like sugar withdrawal?
I mean, yeah, like I was like borderline cussing people out.
Oof.
Like
It
your
was
patience was gone.
crazy.
It is
Yes.
that it's that
It's
So
powerful.
it's like
reliant
nicotine,
on
yeah.
it. And it's like we think about like I mean, I think about you you and your perspective on big pharma. I'm just kind of
Right.
like there's just like so many extra things that they're putting in our food
Terrible.
too. It's insane.
And it's
So
addicting.
it's addicting.
And
Yeah.
people don't really talk about like how
Yeah.
much like I just crave. Well, I've talked about it on the podcast, but like a McDonald's burger, like
Oh, I'm craving that right now.
yeah, I didn't
I
eat one.
can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was forever since I ate one, and I'm like
Yeah.
thinking about them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some changes coming, I think, in the health world. We already saw
Yeah.
like Shake Shack and a couple of these other guys off the top of my head. I think Smashburger is one of them. Are no longer using seed oils.
Good for
They're going to
them.
use
Yeah.
beef tallow for
Oh,
their
that's
grease,
great.
Beef
right?
tallow.
So a natural thing. These seed oils we've learned. We talked about it with Rob Torin a few weeks
Mm.
ago
Mhm.
or Rob Horn, I believe his name was, on the program about how these seed oils are in everything, and that's just one example of something, right? We see
Mhm.
the red dye 40 or whatever it was just banned. We're going to see a lot of this coming with I think some changes that are coming in the health and human services,
Yeah.
which is something to be optimistic about,
I think so
right? I
too.
mean, we got
Yeah.
to get the poison out of the food.
Yeah. I mean, I like hot Cheetos though. That's the
Who
thing.
doesn't love hot Cheetos?
Like you can get rid of red 40, but I'm gonna eat my hot
I was
Cheetos.
going to
I
ask.
just elevated it.
Yeah.
You saying
I
I
know it's
love
Cheetos.
hot
just my
Cheetos.
stomach just went. "Bleh."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. So, like,
Yeah.
outside of the work and once the day's done, the
Yeah.
go-to snack and like the unwind thing, like what are you doing
Ooh.
on your off day?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. Lately, I mean, this whole challenge thing has been taking my life, right? And I think that's like a problem too. And later on, I'll go ahead and do a little reel and kind of be like, this is what my experience was.
Sure.
But what's my day like a weekend? Like what's like the breakdown of my
Yeah,
weekend?
like if you have like
Yeah.
an off day where you're like, you know what, I want to do something fun that's just for me today. Like, what do
I
you
like reading. I
reading?
really like reading. This is gonna sound really funny, but I know that I'm going through it mentally or that I need to disassociate when I pick up like a YA novel, like a young adult novel.
Okay.
Like a couple weeks ago, I like reread the Twilight series.
Okay.
What's wrong with that? It's like watching an old childhood movie or something, you know?
I love movies. I'm a big, I don't even, the term film buff. Like, I really do love film and the intention behind a good curated movie, like with a good message and something that makes you think.
Yeah,
One of my favorite shows right now is Severance on Apple TV. It's a
haven't seen it.
really good show. Oh my gosh. It talks about like your 9 to 5 work life and they're literally trapped at their job. And it's just
Mm.
like a little thriller. It's good. You should check it out.
Severance.
Um, Severance. I
Okay.
like doing that. I'm gonna sound like such a gym bro, but I really do like the gym. I really enjoy the gym, and I think I've made some friends at the gym and have like some sort of community there. So it's been great. I enjoy cooking as well, and I think I'm just I'm just pretty like a low key girl. Like
hmm
it's just whatever comes up in the day. And I think Denver specifically, they do such a great job on putting so many community events where you can go network and like meet people. And I really keep my eye out for that too. I think again,
How do you? Because that's always something that like I'm like it's my days off. Like I should not do anything. But then I
yeah.
know if I went to a networking event, then I might. It's going to change the whole trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
What happened to me?
I
Yeah.
know. It's great.
So where are you seeing these networking events? Like what is
So
that?
it's word of mouth, really. So
Okay.
whatever my friends go to, I'm just kind of like, hey, do you want to go to this? Or we'll send each other stuff. But I see them a lot on social media.
Hmm.
Through my job, I think again, we're super connected to communities. So when I talk about like going to events, I'm there when it comes to like community events. Like if there's something that's like Latino centered, I'm there. If there is something else that's like more like arts centered, I'm there, or like music or food. I think it's been really dead this winter, which
hmm
is why I'm like, dang, what have I been doing? But
Mm.
I think once it starts warming up, I'm gonna be out there a little bit more. But I've I just thought about like, when they say like, oh, you should go, you never know what's gonna happen, even though if you don't go and you go to something and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's a good thing I showed up because I
Mhm.
wasn't about to come. I really like those kinds of experiences and I feel like they happen pretty often for me. Um, so yeah, but that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'm like, wow, what is it that I do?
Well, I mean, because we're
Yeah.
always grinding, we're always hustling. I mean, Art and I are busy guys, and then for me, I do NASCAR, so that's
Yeah.
my downtime, and then I do a podcast for that. So I'm very
Yeah.
forward. It's still work, but it's
That's
still like
awesome.
my hangout time. So everyone's got to have something, right? Something to get their
Yeah.
mind off the typical stuff, whether it's video games, reading,
Yeah,
you know.
NASCAR, like, you like watching, like, sports, like, car racing and such,
Yes,
or okay,
auto racing it's in my
okay,
blood.
that's cool.
Love
Mhm.
racing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fun fact, a couple years ago when I was, like, in my early 20s, I got, like, a WRX car, like, stick shift, and I would just, like,
Oh,
drag race, and
Oh,
It's just
nice.
fun.
Yeah, I
But I
know.
never got into NASCAR. I'm just doing it for like
Hey,
looks
motorsports
fun.
are fun, and
They
and
are.
those
They're cool.
what do you think of that WRX ripping the 6 speed?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, but I blew it out, you
You
know.
blew it?
Yeah, I blew it. I blew it.
Oh,
You mashed the gas too hard? You
I
pushed it
think
to the limit?
so. It was the car that I learned how to drive stick shift in. So I don't know what I did. I just got really excited and had a couple of extra features on it. I couldn't tell you technically what the car had. I just knew it was fast and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
yeah.
loud.
No, those
Yeah.
WRXs, they get up and move. I know someone with one of those.
Yeah.
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 So that's
But
fun though.
yeah.
That's fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like, because it's always the hustle and bustle, right?
Mhm.
We always talk about
Yeah.
what we're doing, why we're doing it, and I like to know what people like to
Yeah.
do on their unwind time. So that's
Yeah.
important too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's so screw saying work. Like people are like, I got to work. I got to go to work today.
Yeah.
And I want to eliminate that social norm of be like, oh, the 9 to 5,
Mhm.
because we can actually have a lot of value in our jobs, right? But we have to create that. And so, like, one thing I've done is change my mentality on it, and it's more being productive. And so I like being productive every single day. And maybe my productive day is productively having R&R time, which is
Right.
relaxation, rest and relaxation, or resetting, whatever your R&R
Mm.
is.
You
But
can, yeah,
but like that's being productive to me is like I'm productively taking a day off. And so like it's kind of a way to like there's
recharge the batteries.
there's all these different ways to look. Like
Yeah.
how like what lens are you looking through? Like that's what's cool about being a human. Like and you said something that really echoed with me, like in that echoes in my own mind is like life is crazy. There's all this stuff happening. Like I want to try to have fun with it because like
Yeah.
within the mayhem, you can have fun within the chaos, but it's a choice. It's like we have to choose how we want to interact with the mayhem around us
Yeah.
because we can't choose what happens to us, but we can choose how we react to it or how we let it affect us. And that's a piece of power that I believe most people don't realize that they have. And everybody has that power of choice of like where your thoughts are, regardless of outside circumstances. Like we have this. And
Ignore the
so
noise. Yeah.
and so one thing I've been doing to ignore the noise and check out of reality is I've been gaming hard, like playing a lot of video games in the last, I don't know, couple months.
Yeah.
Like I've like really brought it home and just been playing games a lot.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's good to
Mhm.
unwind.
What kind of video games do you like to play?
Just like some MMO games. New World is one of them. It's like a massive multiplayer online game. And then I'm also playing like this fun game called No Man's Sky,
It's
which
a nice
is
little free roam.
yeah, space exploration, like
Ooh.
discovery of planets. It's like really fun, easy, non-stressful video games.
Okay. I
You know?
like
Anyway, I'm sure
that.
you could guess what
Yeah.
I play.
I can't. Hold on. Let me guess now. I mean, do you play like what is it, Grand Theft Auto because you like NASCAR?
I do play that Gran Turismo
Okay, there
racing
we go.
games.
There
Yeah,
we go.
love racing. That's me. Get me on the track.
Yeah.
I want to go fast.
There you go. I like
And
that.
honestly, this dude, he's so good at racing games. Like, I don't even want to try.
I grew up around it.
I don't even
That's all I
want to try.
played. That's fun though.
Awesome.
That's fun. I'm glad you've been having some R&R art. That makes me happy.
It is, but I'm going through a weird cycle, like I was talking about, like where I know things are good, but I'm just like kind of like, or like I'm like a little grumpy for like what reason, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so that's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
temporary, right? It's like this is just a temporary feeling. It's okay to sit with this for a little bit, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Let it marinate. It'll
yeah,
pass.
Hmm.
yeah. I relate to that in a way because it's just like, I mean, yeah, I've just kind of been trying to get through this like challenge thing just for the purposes of science. I guess that's a hobby too. I like doing stuff to like bullshit and people and like prove them wrong and be like, I did this, by the way. But um yeah, no, it's a good mindset. Yeah.
I think it is. I
Mhm.
think it is. There's some powerful minds in this room.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Great
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is helping people,
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
you are creating a space that is safe for people to be vulnerable.
Mm,
And that's important.
yeah.
Like the whole getting your money's worth. Like, what about your emotional tank
Yes.
worth. And
Thank
so
you.
I feel like you're
Yeah.
already accomplishing that.
Thank you.
And I'm just really happy that you're able to share some time with us
Yes.
and
It's
come
a great
record some
podcast, yeah.
DCPC. So before we get out of here, where can everybody get in touch with you? How can people get involved?
Yes, honestly, the best way possible is through social media or my website. So my website is no, it's not. That's my email.
So your email
Email is info@embodiment.com and
Okay.
my website is embodiment.com.
Okay.
Of course, social media, Steph Monge _ or @embodiment. Connect with me there. I have a lot of exciting events coming up, and I just like really enjoy just connecting with people and talking about this and, rewriting those narratives. So yeah.
Good stuff. We'll include that down in the show notes down below, so our viewers and listeners can. We'll make it really easy for them to get in touch with you. Thanks again for joining us. It's great. You're in the wheelhouse now, so
I love it.
We'll have to have you back
Thanks
for a
for having
follow-up
me.
visit.
Yes.
See how the challenge went, see where the business is at in the next year or
I would
so.
love that. Yes.
And
that would be
maybe we
great.
can connect at a networking event or something this spring and summer.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah.
together. And when you go to one, you should hit us up. Be like, oh, get the
Yes,
podcast.
we'll come
pull
down.
up. Let's do it.
We'll
Let's
get
do
the
it.
podcast guys
Yes.
over there.
Full send it.
Okay, let's do it. I'm down.
We're going
Thank
all the
you.
way. Going all the way.
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Good stuff. Well,
So, cheers.
yeah,
Thank
let's cheers
you
to that.
for
Thank
joining.
you.
Here, let's cheers these.
Cheers.
Mine's
Cheers.
empty.
That's
I'll still
okay.
clink
Clank it. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in.
We'll see you on Happy Friday tomorrow. Coming your way. All the great content right here on the Discussion Combustion YouTube channel.
I didn't want to steal it from you. I was about to steal
Hey,
it.
man, let me hit it. Be good to yourselves.
You deserve it. Yeah, we'll just cut it.
That's great.